Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Well, let's take a look at some stocks on the move today. In Europe, I'm Stephen Carroll and I'm joined by Bloomberg reporter Chloe Mele. Chloe, good morning and Happy New Year. Let's start with a Happy New Year for Vestas. Their shares gaining this morning. What's behind it?
Yeah, absolutely. It seems that the prospects for that wind industry are improving and Vestas will be a big part of that. So JPMorgan analysts have said that the company had probably a lot more orders for wind turbines than expected in the fourth quarter. So that includes both onshore and offshore projects. It also includes a variety of markets, and it would make it the second consecutive quarter of demand coming in above expectations for Vestas. So it seems that there is good momentum going there, and it's definitely good news for an industry that's had a really, really tough 2025. We, of course, remember in particular the issues that Ørsted had over the summer. Ørsted also has news of its own today. It filed a legal challenge against the move by the Trump administration to suspend the lease of a wind project. So that's something else as well within that wind industry to be keeping an eye on. But it seems that there is, of course, still tensions, and the issues with the Trump administration aren't likely to kind of go away easily. But the analysts at JPMorgan talking about Vestas specifically are saying that the fundamentals for that industry are definitely improving and definitely getting better. And so we are seeing those shares gaining this morning for Vestas.
So that's one that we're watching this morning. Now, we've been talking about how AI is driving markets on this first trading day of the year, and you've picked out a Swedish company that's seeing a big gain in its share price, and they provide ventilation and cooling for data centers.
Yeah, when said like that, it doesn't sound super interesting, but it is a very important kind of sector for the AI rush. So Munters, as you say, provides kind of cooling technologies, heating technologies, etc. And the prospects are looking pretty bright because of their exposure to data centers. So they received a really big order for data center equipment from a company in the US. And it's also over quite a long period of time. We have deliveries scheduled from the fourth quarter of this year all the way up to 2028. And so Munters is the kind of slightly less well-known company that's really benefited from that boom in investments in AI because it provides that kind of really critical equipment and tools. And we have other companies, of course, like Legrand and Schneider Electric, which are maybe a little bit more well-known, that provide a very similar kind of technologies and tools. And data centers really cannot function without those things. So it's really good business at the moment to be this kind of behind-the-scene company of the AI rush. And we've seen Munters shares gain quite a lot recently because of those recent wins in orders.
Okay, and we're looking too at British American Tobacco this morning. Could a new excise duty on cigarettes affect their fortunes this year?
Yeah, BAT has taken quite a bit of a hit this morning because of its stake in ITC, which is itself taking a big hit. So ITC is India's largest maker of cigarettes, and the shares plunged quite impressively, quite massively after the government decided to impose a new duty on cigarettes. And that new duty would result in a tax hike of over 30%. And the reason why the market reaction was so harsh is because that tax burden is much higher than anticipated, and ITC is very vulnerable to it. It gets over 40% of its revenue from cigarettes. So this new tax would mean a really big hit on volumes, big hit on earnings, of course, and it could lead to a hike in prices of at least 15% to kind of pass on that impact to consumers. And because BAT is ITC's largest shareholder, we've got a stake of about 23%. It means that BAT is quite exposed to the fortunes of ITC, and we're seeing that reflected in some weakness in those shares this morning.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.